Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm Jared Klein coming to you live from the NBC29 Digital Desk with a look at today's morning rush. Let's start things off with the top stories over on NBC29.com. At number one, the Department of Health making changes to the COVID-19 dashboard. At number two, Central Virginia breweries earning recognition, and the Virginia Craft Beer Cup. You can head over to that story right now to see which different breweries were recognized. And then at number three, an update on the Greene County man who was reported missing a few weeks ago. We'll get to that story in just a moment here on the Morning Rush. But first this morning, beware if you have a lead foot. Speed cameras will be installed in front of Albemarle and Western Albemarle High Schools. The Board of Supervisors approved the plan Wednesday night. The $100 fine will be billed in the mail to those caught going over the speed limit. But Rio District Supervisor Ned Galloway expressed his doubts the fine would be enough to stop speeding. The housing market in the Charlottesville region has been sluggish recently. In fact, it was the slowest spring for sales in a decade. That's according to the latest report from the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors. In addition to Charlottesville, it covers Albemarle, Fluvanna, Greene, Louisa, and Nelson counties. Greene County saw the largest drop in the second quarter of 2023 compared to the same time last year at around 50%. The association's president says interest rates and inventory, the two I's, are impacting buyers. The Ruckersville man who went missing almost 2 weeks ago has been found safe. The Louisa County Sheriff's Office says Jacob Fallfetter was tracked down to a relative's home in Manassas Wednesday. He was reported missing July 20th. His last known location at the time was the driveway of a business in Louisa County. A lot of resources were used in the search for the 31-year-old, including dogs, drones, and divers. And the state has made changes to its COVID dashboard online. The Virginia Department of Health says it's now more specific with data on the percentage of ER visits involving people diagnosed with the virus. There's been an uptick in that figure in recent weeks, but that matches a trend seen in the past few summers. An infectious disease doctor at UVA Health says there's no need to take extra precautions for now, but still take a test if you have COVID symptoms. So just make sure you know so you're not spreading it more than it has to be.
Right, exactly. And speaking of diseases, cases of leprosy are actually on the rise in Florida. And of course, it's a bacteria that causes bumps on your skin. And, it is curable, and it passes through probably nasal droplets, that sort of thing. But for some reason, they don't really know why. But it's on the rise in Central Florida.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's hard to.
I mean, and you think of it like a disease from like a long time ago. I mean, didn't they? I think they had like an island where leprosy island.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not something you necessarily think of today, people falling ill with.
Right.
But I mean, today, like you said, it can be treated.
Yeah.
It's not like it was back a long time ago before we had modern medicine.
Yeah, and there is evidence, evidently, that armadillos can spread it to humans. They can kind of harbor the bacteria, and it can spread to people.
Are there armadillos in Florida?
I don't know.
My mind first went to Texas because that's what I associate it with, but
I'm not sure. I'll have to look that one up. It might be, because it's not that far from Texas. Okay, all right, so here we go. The germiest spots in your hotel room.
I don't know if I want to know this, but okay.
I didn't realize that there's actually like inspectors, and they have like this little gadget tree that they can find like on the spot. Okay, so AAA, they started using a detection device. You can see it here, and they go through the rooms and they start swabbing everything. So, the handles, the light switches, the remote, that sort of thing. And so when they first started, the remote control was the germiest, but now it's the light switch.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can see that.
At the front door, I don't like touching the light switches, and I will tell you what I do. You want to know what I do?
What?
So with the remote control, I take, the liner that's in the ice cube bucket, the plastic liner that they have in there?
Yeah.
I use that, and I put the remote control in that. Oh. And then it works, because it's clear pretty much. And then that way it's like covered.
That's a handy little hack there.
I know, and my brother told me he does the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, brilliant, but it works.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't ever get ice in the bucket.
Exactly. And you
I
know,
don't know.
it makes sense, you know, that the remote control, the light switch, the
Yeah.
things everybody is touching.
And she even said like the corners and like obviously even underneath there's dust that collects. I'm not really worried about the dust though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the light switches is but she said tips, skip the coffee maker. I don't use the coffee
don't
maker.
either,
I think
no.
that's just gross. You should bring slippers, check the mattress for bed bugs, and peek behind the sofa, drapes, and doors. I don't know what we're looking for behind those things.
I don't know
Except
either.
trash and dust. But
But-
that doesn't bother me as much as
Yeah.
like, you know, the germs that
I'll
are on
always
surfaces.
check for bed bugs because that's like one of my biggest nightmares is
Oh, you do?
taking
I
home
always-
bed bugs from a
yeah.
hotel. So I'll like rip open the sheets and like look really
Look,
closely
yeah.
to make sure there are no little bugs crawling around.
And they say to look in the kind of in the seams along the outside of the
Yeah.
mattress because they like to travel like in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I always do. I do bring flip flops.
Yeah, I think
want you to be
that's
barefoot
not as
in
bad
the
as I
hotel
was
room.
anticipating. So just some basic common like sense
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, we're not too grossed out, unfortunately. All right, so here's a group of people watching a shark, a hammerhead shark, swim towards them. This is off the coast of Palm Beach, Florida. I'm trying to understand why they're just standing there. Like if
Watching
you
it,
were in
yeah.
that group, where would you be?
I'd be running in the opposite direction.
would
I think
be-
most of us would. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the one guy who's kind of getting behind the other. But I
Yeah.
certainly, I mean, it's coming right at them, and then it makes a 90-degree turn. I'd be.
Luckily.
There's a woman. It looks like a woman with her cell phone.
Wow.
I'm like, what are you? Look how close.
Shark's like, this is too easy.
Yeah, I would be
Mortified. Yeah.
moving towards shore
Yeah.
with the group as
You know,
one.
they say you're supposed to, I mean, certain animals you're supposed to stand up to, so maybe a shark. I don't think you're supposed to stand up to a
Oh,
shark, though.
I don't-
think you're supposed to swim away.
I would slowly be
Slowly
going
back away.
Yeah, that's anyway. But that is very close, and that's big.
Yeah, it's super close.
So
It's not worth that picture.
no, it's not. No,
All
it's
right.
not.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. We've got a high of 80 degrees today with a chance of showers and storms later on in the day. And then tomorrow it looks like we're going to be seeing more of that on and off rain with a high of 79. And then heating up again for the weekend. We're going to see more sunshine with that heat and humidity back for our Sunday with a high of 90. I hope you guys have a great Thursday out there. We'll see you again on NBC29 News at noon.